Most High in Christ bless. Teacher Shaul, United Kingdom Congress. I think we built up enough suspense at this point. Okay? Everybody who was waiting 13 minutes ago for this class should be tuned in right now. Alright? We built up enough suspense for today's class. At this moment, if you know somebody who's a werewolf, you know, I'm jumping right into it, bro. I'm not even gonna play games with the topic, okay? If you know somebody that's a werewolf, meaning they subscribe to the full moon is a new moon doctrine, tag them right now. Tag their elder right now. I'm waiting for the response. All right? Why? Because there's a controversy going on within Israel. And this is not to beat up on anybody, so let me clarify real quick, all right? What this is an attempt to restore our brothers and sisters. All right, give me Galatians 6:1 real quick. Okay, this is what this is, because there's a conflict within Israel. When the new moon is, it's very important. It's just as important as knowing when the Sabbath day is. Okay, I did 3 installments to shatter the lunar Sabbath doctrine. All right, if I have to do 3 installments on the full moon, I will, because my care and concern is my people. Verse 1, read what you got.
Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
It's our duty to restore our brothers and sisters that's overtaken in the fault. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, if you subscribe to new moon or full moon is a new moon, you're in fault right now. You're in error. All right? I'm going to tell you something, and flat out, just to make some things clear, I'm going to lay out what the controversy is. The controversy is whether the new moon is a full moon, whether it's the first sight of light, the little sliver, or a dark moon. Now, I'm going to tell y'all straight up. I love my brothers and sisters in Israel that do observe the dark moon. However, today's class, I'm going to have to bring some edification to you as well. This is why IUIC keep busting y'all in the head. This is how y'all keep getting busted in the head. Because their argument is about light, the difference between light and darkness. And when it comes down to light, they're right. When it comes down to it being full light, they're wrong. We're going to bring some edification to this today. We're going to go into the scriptures. We're going to go into various dictionaries. We're going to go into the historical aspects. We're going to go into the Hebrew. That's why they still got a lot of people following their full moon doctrine, because they don't go into the language. We're going to edify you guys as to what exactly does Psalms 81 mean, and when they pull that scripture, how they're right in a certain aspect and wrong in others. And this is how they keep busting y'all brothers in the head, man. It's time to sharpen up. All right? So again, if you're just now tuning in, today's class is Werewolf Doctrine Unchained. Hashtag Silver Bullet. Werewolf Hunter. All right? So, when we looking at this, let's start with Psalms 119, 104.
Psalms chapter 119, verse 104. Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way.
I hate the fact that it's brothers and sisters observing a bogus new moon day. Okay. I'm also going to go into, you know, here, Royal Blue at UKOIC, you know, I want to say that when you observe, when you look at something, I'm going to step into the realm of the Gregorian calendar here real quick. When you look at that thing, what you see is that this month, at the end of January, January 31st, is going to be a trifecta of a phenomenon. What do I mean by that? You're going to have a full moon, okay? It's going to be what they call a blue moon. You know how they say once in a blue moon?
Right.
What that means, it has nothing to do with the color of the moon, by the way. The moon doesn't turn blue. Okay, but once in a blue moon refers to two full moons within one calendar month. That's what it means. It's a rare occasion. And last time they had a blue moon, and it's going to be a super moon, where the moon is about 30% bigger than it normally appears. That's also going to be January 31st. And it's going to be a blood moon. The last time that these three things happened all together was about a little over 150 years ago, like 1866 or something like that. All right? Just a small, fun fact. All right? But, so the controversy will begin, but go ahead. You say that, therefore we hate what?
Every false way.
Every false way. So when we examine this controversy, we see that the controversy surrounds, like I said, a crescent or a slither of light new moon, a fully illuminated new moon, or a completely dark new moon. That's the controversy. Okay? One method is that after the conjunction, you're gonna hear that word throughout this lesson today. Conjunction. Okay? One method is that after the conjunction, the first light of the moon is the new moon. Here in United Kingdom of Israel congregation, we observe the first light, the first sighting of a new moon. Why? Because we're going to show you that historically that's how the Israelites did it. How else will you be able to determine a new moon? Can you sight a dark moon?
No. On a cloudy day?
On any day. The moon can be dark 2 to 3 days. So which day is a new moon? If you're using a dark moon. How do you sight that? You see, you got to understand these things. Israel will wait until they see that first sight of light to say it's a new moon. And if it's a full moon, just a foreshadow. If it's a full moon, you wouldn't need to send at the mouth of 2 or 3 to say there's a new moon, because everybody can see a full moon. So that's out the gates. We're not going to play with this topic. Okay? So that goes to the other method. The other method is that a full moon is seen as the new moon. And I'm going to explain how that false doctrine arrived. Brothers need to repent. Okay? They screwed up their calendar. They ended up having to shift gears and invented this full moon is a new moon doctrine. That's off. It's off. When that shift happened, brothers ended up doing like 2 tabernacles, 2 Day of Atonements. What scripture is that? We'll get into that later on in this class. All right? Go to 2 Timothy chapter 2.
So in the month of January, he's gonna have 2 full moons. So you're gonna celebrate 2 new months.
Yeah.
So what's that? What?
That's space age. All right. When you establish a false calendar based on fraudulent new moons and different things like that, it throws off the high holy days. Everything is thrown off.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So they did this to try to adjust their calendar because their high holy days were going to be out of season. So this is their way of trying to rectify it by creating this doctrine. All right? But FDA, false doctrine assassin, full effect. So let's get it. Let's start with 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Study to shew thyself approved.
This is what I want brothers and sisters to understand. See, here at UKOIC, although I may be the elder, don't take my word flat out for it. That's why I say everybody take notes. Take notes. I want you to go back, research it, and re-research it. Okay? Let the Most High be true and every man be a liar. I'm human. I can err. So don't just take what I say as face value. Go and research it. I did a diligent search myself, but I recommend everybody else does one as well. Read it from the top.
Study to shew thyself approved.
Go ahead.
Unto God. A workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth.
You have to be able to rightfully divide the word of truth. And I'm going to tell you what evolved out of the full moon is a new moon doctrine is a false doctrine in Rome, wrongly dividing of the word. Okay? That's what we're going to see. Now, conjunction. I told you you're going to hear that word today. The word conjunction is the action or an instance of 2 or more events or things occurring at the same point in time or space, i.e. the sun, moon, and earth being aligned. That's conjunction. It's with it. Okay? Like if you say, oh, in conjunction with.
Right.
That means together.
Right.
right? Like when we say, hey, this is the Maccabees Alliance Council magazine in conjunction with SOE, Israelite Clothing and Printing Company, or whatever the case may be. We're talking about something that is together. So when we deal with a conjunction, it's an instance of two or more events or things occurring at the same point in time or space. Okay, same thing that you see during an eclipse. Those two bodies are in conjunction with each other. Okay, they're occurring at the exact same time. That's very key to understanding this lesson today. Okay. Now, it's our stance here at UKOIC that the new moon is based on the day after conjunction. After conjunction. Which will be, so the reason why you'll see a fully dark moon is because these bodies are in conjunction. They're aligned with each other. It's our belief and our teaching that the new moon begins, because it starts over, after that conjunction. Okay? The reason for making the day after conjunction a new moon day as opposed to actual day the conjunction takes place is because a day, this is common sense here, a day cannot simultaneously be a part of the old month and a new month. A day, you can't have that. See, like I say, the moon can be dark for a couple of days, so which part of which month is that? That's confusion. Okay? And this is my brothers I love dearly that do the dark moon thing. But you have no support to stand on with that theory either. Okay? Oh, shout out to Wayne Moon. Wayne Moon brought out something that I almost forgot. Go to Genesis chapter 1. Wayne Moon. While we talking about moons. Okay. Start at verse, this is Genesis chapter 1. Let me get verse 14.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
And God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years.
This is what we have when it comes down to the sun and the moon. Right? These are the lights that he set in the firmament. And these things is what dictate days and signs of feasts and things like that. Okay? Go ahead.
And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so.
Come on.
And God made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day.
That's the sun.
And the lesser light to rule the night.
The moon.
He made the stars also.
Come on.
And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
Read on.
And to rule over the day and over the night. Mm-hmm. And to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good.
Go ahead.
And in the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
So you have the sun and the moon created the fourth day, right? So the moon was new that day. And then, 3 days later, you had a Sabbath. That would be day 7. That's exactly what we just observed this week. The new moon this week was the middle of the week. 3 days later, here we are today at the Shabbat. We just observed this occurrence. We just observed Genesis, the first chapter, this week. Okay? Understand what's going on here. All right? Now, I want to go into something real quick. And also, I want you to grab that sheet over. I want you to get ready to read. We're going to type into, let me see this book right here. Let me hold this up. All right? It's Philo. All right? Philo. The works of Philo, complete and unabridged. Okay? Who is Philo? Philo lived approximately 20 BC until about 50 CE. What does that mean? That means that Philo lived prior to, during, and after Yahushua, or after Jesus Christ. Okay? Or Yeshua. All right? He lived before, during, and after. So from 20 BC until 50 CE. This is a primary source that we about to hit right here. I'm not going to listen to what some Negro who had a mysterious revelation day before yesterday said. I need to know what was going on then. Same way when we did the lunar Sabbath doctrine. And we touched primary sources. We had to know what was going on during the time of the Mashiach. That's who we follow. That's who we follow. Okay? So Philo lived during that time. All right? Evidence reveals that Philo's beliefs were representative of the Israelites during that period of time. This is what we see through the evidence that's going to be presented and that can be presented. Okay? Philo was born and raised in Alexandria, Egypt, and was one of more than 100,000 Hebrews living in that city. When the Roman prefect Flaccus initiated a massacre of the Israelites in the year 39 CE, Philo was elected to head the Hebrew delegation and that went to Rome to plead the case before the emperor, Caligula. Okay? Philo was the one who went to plead the case. So this was a regular dude. So we're going to tap into what Philo had to say today on this topic. All right? Read that first section for me. Yes, sir. And this comes from, read the highlighted portion first. That one.
Philo, Special Laws 2.
This comes from the section Special Laws 2. Come on.
Section 25.
26.
Okay. Section 26. 140 to 142. Emphasis supplied.
Come on. Let's see what it says here.
And it reads, following the order which we have adopted,
following the order which we have adopted,
we proceed to speak of the third festival, that of the new moon.
That of the new moon. Come on.
First of all, because it is the beginning of the month,
okay,
and the beginning, whether of number or of time.
That's very critical. Because what we're going to see in Psalms 81, we're going to see in Psalms 81 talking about two different times. One being the new moon at the beginning of the month, and one being the full moon at a specific time, the beginning of a time. Watch what I say. Watch what I say. And I advise everybody subscribe, because whoever introduced to IUIC the full moon doctrine, they tried to hint around and looking into the language. That's the only way that you would try to arrive and say that Psalms 81 was talking about a full moon. But you don't understand the linguistics of it. Okay? You don't understand Hebrew vernacular and usage. But I'm going to edify you today. Read what you got.
It's honorable. Secondly, because at this time there is nothing in the whole of heaven destitute of light.
Okay, come on.
Thirdly, because at that period the more powerful and important body gives a portion of necessary assistance to the less important and weaker body.
The sun gives it to the moon. We just talked about these two bodies, a stronger and a weaker and a lesser. Philo in the spirit right now. Read what you got.
For at the time of the new moon, the sun begins to illuminate the moon.
Oh, wait. I thought the moon was already fully illuminated.
At the time of the new moon, the sun begins to illuminate the moon with a light which is visible to the outward senses.
Somebody got some explaining to do.
And then she displays her own beauty to the beholder.
And then she displays her own beauty. Then she ends up becoming full. That's her own beauty.
God.
It's just that simple. Study to show yourself approved, Israel. Stop falling off into doctrines of devils, man. Understand this thing. Okay? Now, what we're going to see next is that Philo is getting ready to plainly state, I mean real simple. He's ready to plainly state that the new moon follows the conjunction. Meaning, so it's not a dark moon. Because the dark moon is when it's a conjunction. So it's not that either. The same way a full moon is during the time of a conjunction. Okay? But dealing with the dark of the moon, when it begins to get its light, before it beholds its full beauty, that happens, like I said, we teach here the day after conjunction. Read what you got, officer.
Also, this piece right here?
No, this was
just the red piece.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. The third festival is that which
we already discussed. We're talking about the new moon. Go ahead.
Got it. And this is Final Special Laws 2, Section 11, parentheses 41.
Okay, so this is Section 11 now of Special Laws. Go ahead.
The third festival is that which comes after the conjunction.
New moon, which we just seen in Section 26, says, we just talked about that third festival. That is the new moon. Now he's making it clear that that new moon happens when?
After the conjunction.
After the conjunction. Read on.
Which happens on the day of the new moon in each month.
Every month. That's how it happens. That's how it happens. Now, you know more than this delegate that went to represent us as a people before. By all means, do your own thing. Don't be ignorant. Folks kill me. They love to dig into these different books and go and touch these different bases, but I see that brothers conduct biased research. Okay? But I'm going to tell you, when this came across my desk, yesterday, new moon. I made my new moon post the other day. And his brother, I believe he, if not still with them, was with them. He got the purple up and all that type of stuff, But he came on my post, and I'm going to address the things that he said too. But I don't conduct biased research. So when I got on this topic, I had to go research every aspect of it. Damn, what can I find historically? Is the new moon a full moon? I had to research that. I can't say, well, to hell with that. I've been doing it a different way, so I'm going to roll with what I know. No, I went and researched it. The answer to that, hell no, it's not a full moon. I went and researched the dark moon. I went and researched the first sign of light. I don't conduct biased research. And I would advise that none of you do either. Don't go and research and find certain people who's just going to fit your agenda. Don't do that. That's what the comedic community do. That's what they do. They go find information to fit their agenda. And then they do half-ass research. Look at this. There's a King James got a book called Demonology, so he must be in witchcraft. No, you idiot. If you crack open the book, you will see what he's speaking about. They do biased research. Right. You want to research the part where the faggot who got kicked out of King James Court say King James is gay and did all this stuff. No, he's a disgruntled employee. You trust him? Right. Come on. So, read on.
This is Final Special Laws 2, Section 26, 140. This is the new moon or beginning of the lunar month. Namely the period between one conjunction and the next.
The period between one conjunction and the next. Go ahead.
The length of which has been accurately calculated in the astronomical schools.
All praises. Okay. See, so this is very critical to what we're going into today. All right? We're going to deal with this on a scholarship level. I know the brothers who subscribe to the full moon doctrine actually believe in scholarship, and they do a lot of research. So I'm just giving them something for them to go and fall back upon so they can come out of that madness. Okay? Now, I'm just going to go to Sirach chapter 43. I'm going to read something to you also. This comes from the Encyclopedia Judaica. And see, I don't just tap one book. I go into all types of books. We promote scholarship over here. Okay, the Encyclopedia Judaica backs up the idea that a new moon is determined by a visible crescent. Like I said, the reason why IUIC keep on busting brothers in the head, because when you look at lights and stuff being created, they're saying new moon is dark moon. They like, how is that possible? How is that possible? And it's not possible. So brothers need to readjust their doctrine. No, that's the end of it. That cycle, right before the next cycle kicks off. Okay, you know that the cycle has started again because it's like if you have a counter, one of those counter little clickers. If you got to set it 0, there's no numbers on it. The count starts when you hit 1. It's like the moon. You get a 1% illumination, that count has started throughout its cycle. It's just that simple. Encyclopedia Judaica says on the new moon, the first day or beginning of the month, the Torah placed its celebration on a par with the observance of the festivals, declaring, actually they went to Numbers chapter 10, I don't want to read their bogus version, but go to Numbers 10 and 10 for me real quick. Numbers 10 verse 10.
Numbers chapter 10 verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness and in your solemn feast days and in the beginnings of your months.
So, in your solemn feast days or in your appointed times. Keep that in mind, because when we go to Psalms 81, you're going to see appointed time. So I have to break it all down to you. Okay? It says in your appointed time and in what?
The beginnings of your months.
And in your new moons, because remember the word month gets a name from that. Moon, month. That's how that whole thing is determined. That's also Psalms 81. I'm going to show you that as well. Read on.
Ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
Oh. Did you hear what Encyclopedia Judaica said? Your festivals, your new moons, or at your appointed times and your new months shall you blow the trumpet. Keep that in mind, because we're going to have to hit Psalms 81. Read.
And over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God.
That they may be to you a what?
Memorial.
You remember that word too. See, this is why precept must be upon precept. And through these precepts we get understanding. Read.
Before your God, I am the Lord your God.
Now, back to Encyclopedia Judaica. It says, originally, the new moon was not fixed by astronomical calculations, but was solemnly proclaimed after witnesses had testified to the reappearance of the crescent of the moon. On the 30th of each month, the members of the high court assembled in a courtyard in Jerusalem, named Beit Ya'azek, where they waited to receive the testimony of 2 reliable witnesses. They then sanctified the new moon. If the moon's crescent was not seen on the 30th day, the new moon was automatically celebrated on the 31st day. To inform the population of the beginning of the month, beacons were kindled on Mount of Olives, and this over the entire land and in parts of the diaspora. So not just in Jerusalem, but in other places where the Israelites were scattered. In the diaspora, they knew to go and sight. You see the moon, you see a little piece of light, new moon, blow the trumpet. Later, however, the Samaritans began to light misleading beacons, and the high court dispatched messengers to far removed communities. Those Jews who lived great distances from Jerusalem always celebrated that end of the month, the 30th, as a new moon. On those occasions, when they were informed of his postponement to the 31st, they also observed his second consecutive day, which we're going to see even in scripture that showed that brothers will observe a new moon for 2 days. Remember the story with David. You see what I'm saying? We're going to get into that too in Samuel. It says by the middle of the 4th century, the sages had established a permanent calendar, and the public announcement of the new moon was discontinued. So they fixed it all, because now it's calculated. They calculated the cycle. So they can say, you know what, this is where it's going to be now. So I see the brother say, how can y'all put out a calendar saying new moons is going to be this for this time of the year? Because it can be thoroughly, precisely calculated now. So that's why the whole thing with sighting had kind of phased out. Okay. Now, however, they retained it in the synagogue custom of announcing the new moon on the Sabbath preceding its celebration. So the same way we do now. The Sabbath, when we get together, that's how you know you got to convocate it. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying, who's proclaiming this to you? That's another cut. But this is what we would do. On the Shabbat, we'd be like, hey, y'all know such and such day is going to be new moon. We proclaim it at the Shabbat to let you know that it's coming up. Same thing. We in the spirit in direct alignment with the customary practices of our ancestors. Okay? Now, the idea that we're to look for a full moon instead of a little slither of light, okay, is flawed for 3 key reasons. 3 key reasons that makes that understanding flawed. First, the definition of new moon does not support a full moon. Flat out. I'll say that again. Definition of a new moon does not support full moon. I'm going to explain it with going to the language as well as with scriptures. Okay? Before I go into that, let's go ahead and get Sirach 43, verse 6.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 43.
Actually, start at verse 7, because I'm going to go in reverse. Start at verse 7 so we can show this is the scriptures that I see brothers try to use to support their full moon, new moon doctrine, and that's a lie, and I'm going to show why that's off. Come on.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feast.
Correct.
A light that decreases in her perfection.
You see that? A light that decreases in her perfection. Keep that in mind.
The month is called after her name.
See that? They just tied those two together and say that new moon is a full moon. Because it's talking about the month is being called after the moon, after her name, and it talks about it decreasing in its perfection. No, that's Christianity. Go up to verse 6. Let's get this thing in context.
Verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world.
Come on.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
That's still going along with what was just stated in verse 6. Go ahead.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Okay. So, a light that increaseth. What? That decreaseth. Go ahead.
From the moon is the sign of feast. A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
That decreaseth in her perfection. Okay. So that means once it reaches its full perfection, then it begins to decrease. That's how we see. When we see a full moon, it's in its perfect state. After that, it begins to wane or decrease. Okay? You can't. So that doctrine's confusing. Okay, read on.
The moon is called after her name,
increasing
wonderfully in her changing.
Increasing wonderfully in her changing.
Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
Now, again, remember I just said that there's 3 points to tell you why the full moon and new moon is flawed. Point 1 is the definition of new moon does not support a full moon. Okay. So like the reason being, a moon that is rebuilding is not completely illuminated moon. How can you increase from a full point? You're full. How do you increase from that point? You're fully shining. You can't. The only thing you can do is decrease. That makes no sense. You gotta be under, man, who bewitched you? That's my question. Who bewitched you to believe this lie? Okay? It's not completely illuminated moon, but rather it's a moon that is growing. This we got to understand, right? The second thing is Psalms 81, which we're going to go to. You can turn there now. Psalms 81. Psalms 81 points out the difference between a full moon and a new moon by stating both. This is why you have to get back to the language, brothers and sisters. Because reading Psalms 81 on a certain level, like brother, as it is written in that phrase, will have you thinking wrongly of the scriptures. Psalms 81 points out the difference between a full moon and a new moon. Okay? If they were the same, the new moon or full moon, that would have been all right. Okay? But they're not the same. That's the point. They're not the same. A full moon is not a new moon. A new moon is not a full moon. Okay? The third thing is that history, just like we read in Encyclopedia Judaica, history has men going out to search for the new moon. This is what history states. Okay? Like I said, you won't have to go out and search for a full moon because it would be fully illuminated in the sky. You go outside, you can tell the difference on the night. You can tell the difference between the full moon night and in the night when the moon's in conjunction. It's different. Okay? It's different. It's brighter outside. So you don't have to go out and search that out. You see full moon shining through your window.
Yeah, and they would, they didn't have electricity, so you didn't even have to step out. You could just pull a curtain.
Exactly, because that's the other thing too, because they didn't have those forms of electricity. I mean, they didn't have street lights and the lights of a city to block out the illumination of the heavenly bodies. Exactly. All right. Searching for the full moon, that's just ultimately ridiculous. Nobody has to do that, right? To search for a bright light in the sky. That's stupidity. Okay. However, the full moon does mark the middle of the month. We'll show you why. Because when we look at certain feast days in the scriptures, major feasts like tabernacles, unleavened bread, those occur on the 15th. They occur on the 15th of the month. These were high holy days that required pilgrimage or travel. These are the ones where they had to go to Jerusalem. So you think the Most High going to have you travel in darkness or in light? Stop being idiotic, man. Come on. How long you simple was when you love simplicity? When you out there camped out, you dwell in them booths. The Most High give you a bright light for that nighttime. So I guess people who subscribe to full moon and new moon, they do their tabernacles in pitch black darkness. That's stupid as hell. That's idiotic, brothers. Okay? Now, the Hebrew word, Salakia, go to Psalms 81. You there? Psalms 81, let me start at verse 3.
Psalms 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob.
Hang on. It says, blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed. Remember, I told you I remember that time appointed. That appointed time. In the time appointed on our solemn feast day. This was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob. Okay. Watch this. The Hebrew word Kodesh, is translated in the King James Version of the Bible 254 times. 254 times as the word month. It's translated 20 times to mean new moon and once to mean monthly. Monthly. And once to mean another. So you have to take these things in its full context to understand. You can't just say right there that means new moon, or that right there means month, or this. You have to take it in its full context. You have to understand the vernacular. Okay, this is what you have to do. Now, when we look at the root word of Kadesh in the Strong's numbering system, 23 and 18. A second here. Go to Job 31 and hold that. Job 31, hold that. Stay in Psalms. I'm gonna beat that thing down. I'm just trying to pull up my blue letter real quick. So when we look at Kadesh, it's Strong's 23:20. Okay? Means new moon, okay? When you look at the root of Kadesh, the root is 23:18. 2318. 2318. Let's see what this means. And that is kadash. Kadash. This is the root. It means to be new, renew, or repair. How do you renew or repair something that's already full? Somebody about to get their feelings hurt this evening. How do you renew or repair or make a new? How do you renew or repair something that's already full? That can only happen when you start from that period of darkness and you start to rebuild it. You can't rebuild something that's already complete. You have to start from nothing and build it into something. That's common damn sense. Strong's definition, kadash, a primitive root, to be new, causatively, to rebuild. How do you rebuild a full moon? So that takes away, again, the whole concept of the full moon is a new moon is not supported by the Hebrew definition of the word. It doesn't support it. Okay? Hang on. Okay. So the definition points to more or less like we teach here, that first sight of light leading into that crescent. Okay, as it begins to wax, the waxing phase, as they call it. Okay, because that is when the moon is growing out of darkness. It's repairing itself. It went through its full cycle, it would hit zero, now it's restarting. That's common sense.
Increasing wonderfully in her changing.
Tell me where you're reading from again.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 43 and verse 8.
Come on.
The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Increasing
wonderfully in her changing. If a full moon is a new moon, how do you increase an already fully lit moon? How do you do that? You can't. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Okay? The full moon is a moon that's completely illuminated, right? So, when you see a full moon, the next stage is not a moon that's building. This is a moon that's fading away. It's waning. It's deteriorating. It's decreasing. Go up to, what's that, verse 6 it was?
I'm just right, 8.
It's decreasing. I want decreasing. 7.
Okay, book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 43, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection. When we see a fully illuminated moon, that's the moon that is in full perfection. Then it begins to decrease. Okay? It's like 3rd grade earth science or something. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, decrease does mean go down or less.
Right? Watch this. The International Standard Encyclopedia and the Harper's Bible Dictionary. When you look at both of those, they both support the whole thing. That the Hebrew word for moon is yariyah. 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 That word means white or pale. So that's another hit at the whole thing with the dark moon. You can't say it's a new moon when you say this moon when it's dark. When the word moon is dealing with the color of it, where it's white or pale. So again, brothers that's doing the dark moon, yeah, y'all got some research to do. All right. This is also confirmed when we look at the Hastings Dictionary of the Bible. So what I'm telling you is that the International Standard Encyclopedia and the Harper's Bible Dictionary. Okay. You know, it gets funny to me. Brothers be like at the mouth of 2 or 3 let every word be established until you do a class with all resources. Then all those sources are irrelevant. The Hastings Bible, the Hastings Dictionary of the Bible. See, we don't just use Zondervan. This has come from page 936 under the heading Time. This is what it states. And I quote, "The phases of the moon will be watched, and it will be soon be noticed that these recurred at regular intervals. Each appearance of the new moon would be noted at the beginning of a new period." That double-barrel shotgun at dark and full moon. Shoot the moon. Okay? That thing's done for. Let's go back to Philo. Read the third section. Right here. No. Yeah, right here. Yeah, got it.
That was the last one.
That was the last one? Okay, got it. Yep.
This one?
Yep.
On mating with preliminary studies, section 19, 106.
Okay.
106.
So we're dealing with preliminary studies here, section 19, and it's come from the complete works of Philo. Philo, like Josephus, wrote multiple books. Okay, the book I held up earlier, the complete works, is just a collection of those books. All right? Let's see what he has to say.
And it reads, "For it is said in the scripture, on the 10th day of this month, let each of them take a sheep according to his house, in order that from the 10th there may be consecrated to the 10th, that is, to Elohim, the sacrifices which have been preserved in the soul, which is illuminated in two portions."
Which is what?
Illuminated in two portions, out of the three, until it is entirely changed in every part.
Until it is entirely changed in every part. Watch this. Read on.
And becomes a heavenly brilliancy.
Brilliancy, come on.
Like a full moon.
Like a what?
Full moon.
It becomes a heavenly brilliancy like a what?
A full moon.
Wait a minute. I thought the full moon was all dark. Because they say their new moon is full. So I mean, their full moon will have to be dark. But according to this, it's brilliant. You can see this thing. It's fully illuminated. This is what a full moon represents. Okay, go ahead.
At the height of its increase, at the end of the second week.
Don't we get, remember, just like Tabernacles, second week of the month. Just like Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, second week of the month. There's a full moon. There's a full moon at that time. And it's fully illuminated. I don't give a damn what your elder said. Your elder's wrong. If you subscribe to the full moon being a new moon, you're adhering to the doctrine of devils, and you need to haul ass up out of there immediately. Don't even look back. You might go out like Lot wife. Don't look back. Run. Get out. It says like a full moon at the height of its increase at the end of the second week. But wait. Well, it said like an infomercial. But wait, there's more. Read on.
This is Philo Special Laws 2, the fifth festival.
The fifth festival.
Section 28, parentheses 155.
Come on.
And this feast is begun on the 15th day of the month. In the middle of the month.
He made it real clear. This guy is very clear. Come on.
On the day on which the moon is full of light.
Read that part again.
And this feast is begun on the 15th day of the month, in the middle of the month, on the day on which the moon is full of light.
If you think that the full moon starts at the beginning of a month, you need to repent. Turn from your iniquity. Okay? Come out of that werewolf doctrine. Watch this. And I ain't forgot about the brother. Wasn't name Ron? The brother came on my post. I ain't forgot about that either. I'm going to address that. Because he say, oh, the Israelites were scared of the new moon. I mean, the full moon. No, brother. He tried to tell me something about Babylonians. Well, I'm going to tell you, that one book that you keep quoting from is garbage. Okay, I'm going to tell you what the Babylonians did. Thorough research. He argued with Saints of Christ all day about the damn full moon too. And telling them I got more resources, but yet he's only posting one book. Right. Stop it, brother. Repent too. Okay. Yeah, Khan.
In consequence, on the providence of Elohim, taking care that here shall be no darkness on that day.
Wait, the Most High took care of it, what?
Taking care of that there shall be no darkness on that day.
That's the silver bullet right there. That werewolf's dead. That werewolf's bleeding out right now. Okay. He bleeding out.
He turned human again.
The Most High took special care so that on tabernacles,
right,
or on the unleavened bread, that there was no darkness. That's why he set the moon in the sky that day fully illuminated in its brilliancy, in its full perfection. Look, I'll tell y'all what, trade your purple in for royal blue. It's all royal. That's all. It's a derivative. It's a form. Trade it in. We got room for you over here. We got room for you. Okay, come out of that madness. All right, let's see what else we got. Let me see. Okay, I'm on their website right now. So go to Job 31. They got things highlighted like a light that decreases into perfection. Okay. Then they got stuff to cut themselves too. And things that have nothing to do with a new moon. I'm going to bring out those type of scriptures like this. Job 31 and 26.
Job chapter 31, verse 26. And it reads, if I beheld the sun when it shine, or the moon walking in brightness.
That has nothing to do with a new moon. You see, this on their website. I can't make this up. Y'all laughing at me. I didn't type this. This has nothing to do with new moon. This is on there, the new moon is the full moon. On their website. Okay? This is what they say. They also use Baruch chapter 6. Go there. These scriptures that they're using will have you think that the moon never changed and went through a phase. Because you would have to think that the moon would have to stay bright because they're using just scriptures about the moon being bright. Baruch chapter 6, verse 60. I'm reading them in order as they present themselves on their website. You don't got to take my word for it.
The book of Baruch, chapter 6, verse 60. For sun, moon, and stars being bright and sent to do their offices are obedient.
What did it say again?
For sun, moon, and stars being bright and sent to do their offices are obedient.
What the hell that got to do with anything? And then right after that, they state, in the coming kingdom, true Israel will still acknowledge the new moon brightness. Now, I know what Isaiah 30 says, okay? However, let's understand something, man. These scriptures that they pull have nothing to do with saying that the full moon is a new moon. Not at all, okay? They went to Genesis 1, I went there, 2nd Esdras. None of that has anything to do with that thing, all right? All right, let's get back to what really matters. Their website is confusion. All right? Let's get back to casting down imagination. Give me that 2 Corinthians 10 and 5. And then we're going back to Psalms 81.
Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imaginations in every high place. Salah. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bring it into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
That's what we're trying to do, because right now, what got our people in captivity is a bogus full moon doctrine, the werewolf doctrine. Got them. It got them. Mental and spiritual bondage. All praise to the Most High. A lot of brothers and sisters did wake up out of that thing, and they turned and they ran away from that thing. They fled. Okay? But let's go back to Psalms 81 real quick. Let me show y'all something. Psalms 81. I'm going to show you. I'm going to break this thing all the way down for y'all real quick. We're going to Psalms 81 and 3. Give me a second here. Psalms 81 and 3. Let me pull it up. Okay. Psalms 81 verse 3.
Psalms chapter 81 verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
Okay. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, 2320, Kodesh, in the time appointed. I want y'all to write this down in the Hebrew. 3677. In the time appointed. And then it says when?
On our solemn feast day.
Our solemn feast. The Hebrew word is Chag, 2282. 2282. This is why they be telling their members, don't go into the blue letter, don't do this, just stay away from the Hebrew. Because, like I tell my congregation, the Hebrew, when you go to the language, it puts to bed a whole lot of man-made false doctrines. It kills it. All right? So, we see blow up the trumpet new moon in time appointed 3677 on our solemn feast. That's 2282. So 3677, Kesed. It comes from 3680, properly meaning fullness or the full moon. Oh, you see that out? You see that? Told you. Right there where it says blow up the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed. That time appointed right there, it comes from it means fullness or full moon. See, I told y'all somebody try to dibble and dabble, but I'm going to finish. That is its festival, time appointed. Okay? That comes from the Strong's Greek and Hebrew dictionary, of course. And then it says, on our solemn feast day, okay, Chag, 2282. This word refers especially to a feast observed by a pilgrimage. This comes from the New Strong's expanded dictionary of Bible words. What does all this mean? Read it again.
Psalms 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed.
And the time appointed on the full moon.
On our solemn feast day.
On our solemn feast day, during the time of a feast that requires a pilgrimage. This right here, this what we're reading has nothing actually to do with the beginning of the month. So when brothers think that they can prove something by going to show that this right here shows full moon, actually, you just cut yourself. I'm about to prove it. Again, what? The holy day is on the full moon that requires a pilgrimage? Unleavened bread, what else? Oh, that was easy. How do we know this? Now this just, oh, y'all just connecting dots. Y'all making stuff up. I'm going to show you that that's not the case. Watch this. But before I do that, okay, here's the problem. Here's a couple things, right? Go to Hosea 2. Because new moon day, the actual new moon, is not referred to as Chag, or that word, meaning that you have to take that journey, nowhere in Scripture. Somebody try to point out Hosea 2 and 11 and say, yes, it is. So I'm going to kill that real quick. No biased research over here. Hosea 2, verse 11.
Hosea chapter 2, verse 11. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbaths.
You see that? Her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths. Come on.
And all her solemn feasts.
And all her solemn feasts. Read it one more time.
I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts.
So remember, when we looked at it, on our solemn feast, that word was, when we look in the Hebrew, that 2282, that word is Chag. So somebody say, well, you see it right there, the new moon is referred to as solemn feast. before I address that, go to Ezekiel 45 and 17. Let me put their scriptures out there first, and then I'll attack them.
Ezekiel chapter 45, verse 17.
Go ahead.
And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings, and meat offerings, and drink offerings in the feasts, and in the new moons, and in the Sabbaths, in all solemnities of the house of Israel.
So, when we look at this thing, all solemnities. But you have to understand that when we look at the context in which new moon is used in Hosea chapter 2 and verse 11, and the context in which it's used in Ezekiel 45 and 17, you will notice that new moon in those texts are mentioned separate from Sabbaths. They're mentioned separate from Cog. What do I mean by that? They're mentioned separate from solemn feasts. Okay? Had to point that out. Okay? Why? Because people, that's one of the hang-ups when it comes down to understanding Psalms 81 and 3. Okay? Psalms 81 and 3 proves that the trumpet was sounded at the full moon. Not because it was the new month, but because what we read in Numbers 10 and 10. Go back to it again. Go back to Numbers 10. I'm going to show y'all.
Numbers chapter 10, verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days,
and in your solemn days,
and the beginnings, and in the beginnings of your months,
and at the beginning of the months,
ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
So according to the scripture, you're supposed to blow on your solemn feast day and at the beginning of the month. Psalms 81 is telling you to blow up the trumpet at the time of the full moon. Why? Because it's a feast day, not because it's the beginning of your month. I'm going to show you that. What do you mean? Well, it says, go back to Psalms 81, see? Because I'm going to answer the questions in people's minds right now. Go back to Psalms 81. You have to understand that the most reasonable and the most logical interpretation of Psalms 81 in verse 3 is to understand it's referring to the full moon that coincides with the Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. Or Feast of Unleavened, Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay? And I'm going to prove it to you. Go ahead.
Psalms 81, chapter 3.
Verse 3.
Psalms 81, verse 3.
Go ahead.
Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed, on our solemn feast day.
On our solemn feast day. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon. See, this is not telling you. Yes, you blow up the trumpet at the beginning of a month. On the new moon. But you got to understand what this is speaking of. We're going to show you. Well, it says new moon. Why is it calling this? Why would it be calling Passover new moon? I'm going to explain it. That's why I'm teaching Shaul. Okay? Watch. Let me show y'all something. Class is in session, right? The reason why I say that verse 3 refers to the Passover. Watch this. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 16. Israel was led out of Egypt at night, right?
All right.
Come, okay? Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God, for in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
Let me ask y'all a question. What's the month of Abib? It's the what?
The beginning of months.
The beginning of months. So wouldn't the month of Abib be the new month of the year?
Yes, sir.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Make it make sense. This is what, when you look at Psalm 81, it's talking about the month of Abib. In the new moon, in your new month, on the appointed time. What do you mean? What's the appointed time in the month of Abib? The Passover. Watch this. Watch this. Go to Numbers 33. Numbers chapter 33. Start at verse 1.
Numbers chapter 33, verse 1. These are the journeys of the children of Israel.
These are the journeys of the children of Israel. Come on.
Which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys.
Now wait a minute. When we look at, again, we're talking about these journeys. Two important journeys, two important pilgrimage took place during full moons. They took place in the middle of the month. When according to Philo is when the moon is fully light, fully bright. That's according to Philo. Okay. There's two of these that take place, right? Again, Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Feast of Tabernacles. So what we're reading about right now is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay. Hold that. Hold that right there. They're like, no more Ray. Yes. Hold that right there. Go back to Psalms 81. Language matters. Language matters. Hebrew language is in particular matters. Okay? Because when you read it in the context, you will understand that this passage in Psalms is referring to the blowing of the trumpet in the new month of the year on the appointed time during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Watch. Psalms 81. Start at verse, you can start back at verse 3.
Psalms chapter 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob.
If you don't just cut that out of the whole passage, then you John 3:16 in this thing. No, we're going to read this in its full context. Let's see exactly what's going on during this full moon where trumpets is blown. That's not the beginning of a month. Again, don't let your elders mislead you with that bull. They want to go into the language when it suits their doctrine. That's foolish. We'll go to the language just to prove that the word Alma, virgin is Alma, and it means it doesn't. Come on, stop it. Don't try to hit it when it only suits your doctrine. Read what you got.
Verse 5. This he ordained.
Wait, he said this was a statute for Israel and the law of the God of Jacob. This he ordained when?
In Joseph.
In who?
Joseph.
Come on.
For a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt.
When he went out through where?
The land of Egypt. Where I heard a language that I understood not.
Uh-oh. Wait. So verse 6 shows that the Most High Power, Yahweh, went out through the land of Egypt. Verse 6, come on.
I removed his shoulder from the burden. His hands were delivered from the pots.
The Most High removed Israel's shoulders from the burden. Remember these words. These words are going to be very key in understanding what this passage is talking about. Okay.
Thou callest in trouble, and I deliver thee.
Okay. So what we have here now, we have a full moon, according to what we read in the 3rd verse. We got a full moon was a day, and we know that it was Feast of Unleavened Bread. So we know, based on what we observe, that the Feast of Unleavened Bread, in the middle of the month, there's a full moon, fully illuminated. Right? Okay. So that goes to support, that kills their doctrine. That kills their doctrine. Psalms 81:3, yeah, it does mention a full moon and blowing up a trumpet. But it's because it's a feast day. It's a solemn assembly. What is it? It's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay? We see that this is what happened. All right? So, now go back to Numbers 33. It was a full moon when the Most High delivered us out of the Egyptian bondage. When we departed from Ramesses in the 1st month. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 2. And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord. And these are their journeys according to their going out. And they departed from Ramses in the 1st month.
Guess what the word right there for that is, Kodesh, the same thing you see in Psalms 81. Again, when it's talking about that new moon and that time appointed and dealing with that feast day, it is talking about full moon. Okay, it is. But it's talking about the beginning, that new month of the year and the time appointed at the full moon. Okay, read.
And they departed from Ramses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out with an high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians.
See, Psalms 81 tells us that Israel was delivered from Egypt on the day of the full moon. That day would have to be the 15th day of the month. That coincides with the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's just that simple. Okay? So, now the question is, ask yourself this question. Go to 1 Samuel chapter 20. How can the full moon and the new moon be the same? First of all, that statement is an oxymoron. That's like quiet thunder. That don't exist. 1 Samuel chapter 20. Start at verse 24.
1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come,
when the new moon had come,
the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty.
So, we see here we're dealing with the whole concept of new moon, right? Say when a new moon was come. Okay, come on, read on.
Verse 26. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day.
But he didn't speak anything that day, the new moon day. Read on.
For he thought something hath befallen him. He is not clean.
Mm-hmm.
Surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month.
Wait, so that lets you know that the new moon is the first day of the month. That's also a hit at lunar Sabbath people who do new moon and then the next day is day one. No, that's not scriptural. The new moon is the first day of the month. How you start counting the day after new moon? That's how they end up with day 8 being Sabbath. 8, 15, or whatever the count goes. Okay? But, again, the new moon is the first day of the month. Okay? Fact. Read that again.
And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to me, neither yesterday nor today?
Neither yesterday nor today. That also goes into it that they, like we read earlier, that they will do the new moon for at least 2 days at times. Okay? The observance. You see what I'm saying? So, we're looking at day 1 and day 2. So, this can't be, again, for you werewolves, right? The full moon can't be your new moon. Because scripturally and historically, the Most High brought the children of Israel out and we traveled during the light of the moon. And that was the 15th. So if you're looking at a full moon, that's the middle of the month, brothers and sisters. That's not the first day of the month. The new moon is the first day of the month. And from the new moon is that increasing to a perfection, then she decreases. If you start out with a full moon, you can't increase no further. The only thing left for you to do is decrease. So that means you had to decrease to darkness, and then that's your middle of the month somehow, and then turn back into light again. That's foolishness. But again, the reason why they keep busting people in the head and arguing with people is because when it comes down to saying that you can see light on the new moon, they're actually correct in that aspect. It's just not full. All right? So, again, Israel left Egypt on the 15th of the month. That was a full moon. That was a full moon. That wasn't the first day of the month. That was the 15th when that full moon occurred. Okay? Go to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23, verse 5 and 6. Like we read in Numbers 33 and 3, where it says they departed from Ramses in the first month of the 15th day of the first month on the morrow after the Passover. Read what you got.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread. Unto the Lord 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
See, you have to understand. Now from there, go to Exodus 12. Because again, when we look at Psalms 81, and we're like, well, it says here this new moon, this new, yeah, definitely. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of a new phase for them. Exodus 12 and 2.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
That's the month of Abib. Okay? That's the first month. That's what we're reading about when we're looking at Psalms 81. And we look at this word Kodesh, okay? From that 23:20 coming from 23:18, we see new moon, by implication, a month, okay? Or monthly, okay? When you go to 23:18, once again, it means, based on the primary root, it means to be new. Causatively, to Jacinius's Hebrew and Chaldee lexicon. Okay? And we look at Kodesh. It says it comes from 23:18 and means to be new. Watch this. Or to polish with a sword. That's very critical. Or to polish with a sword. In other words, it appears as a scimitar. S-C-I-M-I-T-A-R. You know what a scimitar is? A curved sword. So when we're dealing with this whole concept of this new moon, it has to be when you see that slither of light. I can't make this stuff up. As a scimitar or a curved sword, which means it's not all dark, it's not invisible. So that's why they keep coming at y'all. When they come to when the full moon people be trying to attack, they are, she's dark moon, dark moon, dark moon. That's because dark moon isn't scriptural either. That's why. And until y'all, because that's how the brother ended up fleeing off my post. Once I hit him with the, man, UKOIC, we deal with the first sight. I ain't hear from him again. It's still up. You can go see it. A polished with a sword? That's shiny. As a scimitar? That's a curved sword, a crescent. Man, y'all better cut it out now. Okay, again, we blow up trumpets on the new moon, meaning new month, and feast days. Okay? So that's what we have to understand. So when you're reading about what's being blown up, oh, wait a minute, is there a full moon? Yeah, that's because it was a feast day at that time. And we're talking Passover. Or unleavened bread. Same, yeah. Okay. Now, So, if the root means to rebuild, so if the month begins at a full moon, then the word should mean, then that word should mean decrease or tear down. Think about this. That word, Kadash, that 23:18, it means to rebuild or renew. So if the new moon started at a full moon, that word should mean tear down or decrease and not rebuild or renew. Why would it say rebuild or renew if it's full instead of saying decrease? That's why you got to go into the language. It kills those bogus man-made doctrines. Okay, so when we look at the words in the scripture, right, and we look at new moon, the new moon, as we see it and as we acknowledge it, is going through a rebuilding process. It goes from being little, and then they build, quarter moon, half moon, full. That's building. That's increasing. Then it goes from that full to back to a half, to a quarter, that's decreasing. You can't tell me that a full moon is a new moon, and that's what starts. But yet, as the month goes on, it starts to decrease, as opposed to increase to perfection, like the scriptures say. Doctrines of men, I tell y'all. Okay. The scriptures, go to Sirach chapter 50. The scriptures refer to a full moon as what? A full moon. You're not going to find a scripture where it refers to a full moon as a new moon. When they talk about full moon, it's talking about a full moon. That's why those scriptures that they try to prove has nothing to do with a new moon. Sirach chapter 50. Sirach chapter 50, let's start at verse 6. Because why would the moon be called bright? Why would the full moon be called bright according to scripture if it's dark according to these doctrines of men? That's what I asked the brother. And I told him to cue the Japanese music. I guess that music's still playing.
Yo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 50, verse 6.
Come on.
He was as the morning star in the midst of a cloud.
Uh-huh.
And as the moon.
So if you see the sun shines bright, right? And as the moon when?
At the full.
That would be bright. That wouldn't be dark. A full moon is a full moon. It's fully bright. Read on, next verse.
As the sun shining upon the temple of the Most High.
Come on.
And as the rainbow giving light in the bright cloud.
These are things that you can visibly see. So a full moon would be visible, not dark. Come out of them doctrines of devils. The full moon is not the new moon. Okay? I'm going to jump back and deal with visible crescents. Because some people are going to say, you kind of allude to it. You tell me what Jacinius, Hebrew, Chaldee, lexicon said about a scimitar sword. That's fine. Watch this. This is from Hastings Dictionary of the Bible. Right? Hastings Dictionary of the Bible, under the article New Moon. You go to you look up New Moon. It's on page 522. I'm going to tell you exactly where I went. See, in college, I was an expert at writing papers. I never had a problem with citing my sources, because I'm going to do thorough research. Okay? So it's under New Moon, page 522 in Hastings Dictionary of the Bible. It says there was no fixed calendar till the 4th century. And the new moon was declared from actual observation. The eyewitnesses were carefully examined on the 30th day of each month. If no witnesses were available, then the following day was new moon. Plain and simple, right? Okay. Now, by a guy named I.E. Doggett, it's titled Calendars. He states, during the period of the Sanhedrin, see, this is why, remember I just did that class a little while back? This is exactly why we need brothers to step up and get the laws back in order throughout Israel.
That's right.
This is exactly why we need that type of counsel today.
That's right.
During the period of the Sanhedrin, a committee of the Sanhedrin met to evaluate reports of sightings of the lunar crescent. See? The new moon's not a full moon, nor is a new moon a dark moon. A moon can be full for 2 to 3 days, and so can it be dark for 2 to 3 days when it's in conjunction. Okay? Now, when we go to Ezra chapter 7, when we look at Ezra chapter 7, we know that Ezra, the priest, and Nehemiah, they both use Babylonian names for the months of the calendar. I'm going to show something. See, now I'm going to deal with what the dude said on my post. Ezra chapter 7. Ezra chapter 7, verse 11 and 12.
Ezra chapter 7, verse 11. Now this is the copy of the letter that King Artaxerxes gave unto Ezra, the priest, the scribe, even a scribe of the words of the commandments of the Lord and of his statutes to Israel. Artaxerxes, King of kings, unto Ezra the priest, a scribe of the law of the God of heaven, perfect peace, and at such a time. I make a decree that all they of the people of Israel and of his priests and Levites in my realm, which are minded of their own free will to go up to Jerusalem, go with thee.
Okay, so we got to understand that we understand who Ezra is and the role he played thus far. Watch this. Go to Nehemiah chapter 1. Nehemiah chapter 1. Nehemiah 1 and verse 1.
Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 1. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah, and it came to pass in the month Chislev, in the 12th year, as I was in Shushan, the palace, that Hananiah,
that's good right there. In the month of Chislev. Okay, so that's a Babylonian term. Okay, this is what we see. Go to 2. We jump over to 2 and 1.
Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in the month Nisan,
which is the month of Abib. Come on.
In the 20th year of Artaxerxes, the king, that wine was before him. And I took up the wine and gave it unto the king.
Now I want to bring something out. I looked at this to show that dealing with the Babylon. Okay, we may have called or used their terminologies and to refer to months, the same way you would say January, February, March, well, right? So this dude posts this thing, right? And it looks like it comes from page 138. And it's the wording at the top of it says Hebrew and Babylonian traditions. He says, for a long time, scholars continued to be puzzled by the Babylonian term, and the camps were divided between those who still clung to the thesis that the existence of the term pointed to a Sabbath institution among the Babylonians. Okay. He says, in a list giving the specific names attached to certain days of the month, such as 1st, 9th, 10th, etc., it was found that the 15th day of the month was designated by this very term, Shabbatun. Interesting. The conclusion was obvious that among the Babylonians, the term corresponding to Sabbath simply meant period of the full moon. So who followed Babylonian customs? He tried to come on a post talking about, let me go back to my post so I can quote this brother directly. Wow. You cut yourself with your own booklet. You following the Babylonian custom for observing the full moon. The conclusion was obvious. I'm reading what he posted. That among the Babylonians, the term corresponding to Sabbath simply meant the period of full moon. Okay. Okay, watch this. Hold on. It says, also, hold on, let me get down to the bottom down here. It says, we find also designations as, I can't read that word, for the date of the disappearance of the moon at the end of the month. Wait a minute, bro. How do you support a full moon doctrine, but then you cut yourself, and in the footnotes, it talks about the disappearance of the moon at the end of the month? You an idiot. You gotta be a whole type of fool. This is madness. You cut yourself with your own book. I was waiting for this day. I'm reading it like, did this dude post this? I said, don't worry, I'm not gonna argue with the dude on Facebook. I'm gonna go ahead, make my response, and this first thing I said right here was, we observed this first light side of the dark, not the dark moon. He said, this is the reason we worship the new moon as dark moon and not the full moon. We are still in Babylonian understanding. No, you lack understanding because what you posted showed that the Babylonian observed full moon.
And he said, worship the new moon.
Who, bro? Yeah.
Come on, man.
Idolatry.
Yeah, you see that? He says, worship the new moon. He a lunatic.
You worship the queen of heaven.
He a lunatic. By definition.
Wow, man.
Okay, let me go pull the definition of lunatic. There's a brother named Ron Ben Israel. I'm gonna put you out there. You can't publicly me on my post. I'm gonna publicly put your name out there. Ron Ben Israel. Now that's public. How you cut yourself with your own book? You gotta be out your mind. Okay, I'm the leader over here. You a follower. Get your study game up, partner. All right, let me get y'all this definition. That joint said the moon disappeared at the end of the month. How you promoting the full moon, new moon, when the book you just shared shows that at the end of the month, it goes into conjunction where it's dark. So unless you go jump from dark to full, and you know something we don't know, I suggest you don't go on nobody else's post with your foolishness.
The boy that cut himself, he knocked his own head off.
He shot himself in the head with a silver bullet.
Committed suicide.
Werewolf, suicide, killed himself with that one, Doc. Hang on. Lunatic, by definition. Okay, hang on. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Some Ramesses worship.
And you know what's crazy is I'm looking at this scientific site right here, talk about lunacy and the full moon. It says, across the centuries, many persons have uttered the phrase, it must be a full moon out there. When people be acting crazy, you gotta be crazy as hell to come on my post talking about a full moon.
Yeah.
You definitely a lunatic.
People still say that today. It must be a full moon because everybody's weird.
Everybody's weird, acting crazy.
Hey, there we go.
There you go, right there on my post.
A moonanite.
Oh, snap. I can't believe the dude. Then he been arguing with Saints of Christ all day about the same topic.
Come on, man.
Man, just tune in. That's all I can say. Class is in session. Okay. Watch this. Let me take y'all to somewhere real quick. Let me go back. Okay. So, let me read something to y'all. Okay. Before I hit that, I know what Deacon waiting on. He waiting on the nails in the coffin. I'll hit that in a second. I'll hit that shortly. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull something up here. I got a perfect definition I'm trying to get to. That's what I want. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted right here. Okay, lunatic. Here we go. This is what I want. Lunatic, late 13th century. It's an adjective. Meaning affected with the periodic insanity dependent on the changes of the moon. From the old French lunatique, meaning insane, or directly from the late Latin lunaticus, meaning moonstruck. Right, from the Latin word luna, meaning moon. So that's how you get lunatic. Like in Spanish, like the word for moon is luna, la luna. So you're a lunatic. Okay, you off into that. All right. So here we go. We're gonna close out. I said I'm gonna take out a full 2. So here you go, Mr. Ron, and cut yourself with your own booklet. I want to give you something right here. This is from the writings of Clement of Alexandria. I say this is the best for last.
Come on, man.
Okay. So I want to say something. I want to note that again, during periods of a couple days of darkness in the middle of if you subscribe to the full moon doctrine, right? You have to understand that there's a period of darkness. It could be 1 or 2 days during conjunction, or you could have full illumination. Like a brother be like, well, I'm using the moon. Okay. I guarantee you, because actually, before the moon is even fully 100% full, it already begins to appear full.
Right.
So again, if you can go outside right now and tell me what today is. Cut it out. Stop being simple. This is exactly why Israel came with a fixed calendar system. So you give too much credit to the white man. He didn't create nothing for us, nor do we follow his lead.
That's right.
Okay. So, something else to note is that there will be 1 or 2 days, dark days in the middle of the month when using the full moon reckoning. So if you're saying that the full moon is a new moon at the beginning of a month, then that means that you're saying that there will be dark days in the middle of the month. Okay. When reckoning the new moon day by the full moon, subsequent phases of the moon become inconsistent and unpredictable, making this whole thought process and this whole werewolf doctrine to be unreliable in identification of days based on the moon's appearance. And it will make it very difficult, if not impossible. Okay? So, writings of Clement, before I take us out. This is the last thing. Writings of Clement. This comes from volume 6, chapter 16 of the Stromata. Stromata. Let's see what Clement said. Okay? Now we're talking, this is around the periods of between 150 to 215 AD. Okay? Alright? So, writings of Clement. He says, in periods of 7 days, the moon undergoes its changes. In the first week, she becomes a half moon. In the second week, a full moon. In the third week, in her wane, meaning her decrease. And again, a half moon. And in the fourth week, she disappears. A fully lit moon is not a new moon. It's time to come out of that doctrine. There's nothing in the scriptures to support that. And the scriptures that people try to pull are gross misinterpretations of those scriptures. There's nothing to support historically that we observe a fully illuminated moon as a new moon beginning of a month. Okay? Again, we have to come out of these things. We have to study to show ourselves approved. Otherwise, we end up falling into the doctrines of devils. All right? Deuteronomy 13.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death.
Today we have laid out life and death before you. Okay? We know that the wage for sin is death. We know we're commanded to observe these holy days according to their season. We know that we are commanded to observe these new moon observances. Okay? You are in grave error and sin. You created a fatal error when you out here observing a fully illuminated moon since the beginning of the month. All y'all had to do in the beginning was just repent because your calendar was off. Because you didn't want to deal with the intercalary month when everybody else in Israel shifted. So you end up with your Passover being thrown off. So when Israel started to rally and say, hey, they Passover about to be in winter and not in spring, ain't no ears of corn popping up in February. And if they would have stayed on their path, then their Passover would have been in January. You might as well go back to the world and celebrate January 1st as a new year. All because brothers refuse to humble down and get off their damn high horse. You get ready to leave hundreds of people to hell. Come off that and say, hey, we screwed up. Instead of doing that, they created a bogus doctrine and said, you know what? I knew something was wrong. These dudes been the truth 40 years. Now all of a sudden, you know that, you know what, y'all, we've been doing this all wrong. The full moon is actually a new moon. They did that so they can play catch up. Then they set their whole calendar back so they had to have 2 tabernacles. 2 tabernacles. First of all, I'm going to say this for the record, the only high holy day that you can redo according to thus saith the Most High Power is the Passover. And it's for specific reasons of uncleanness or journey. That you will be able to do the Passover in the 2nd month at the 14th day at evening. Okay? It will all go right back into the same rules would apply as that 1st month. There's no other high holy day. Oh snap. Let's redo let's redo Pentecost. Because actually, when I counted 7 weeks, I actually counted 6 weeks until to the 7th one. So we got to redo it. There's no such thing as going back and redo-overs in high holy days. Read that from the top, Bob.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
That thou and thy seed may live. Because my concern is my people. Okay? The silver bullet has been fired. If one of you werewolves believe that you got on body armor, please rebuttal, please come back, and then I'm going to unleash my 2nd full installation of this video. And I'm going to go harder in the 2nd one than I did in the 1st. Same way I did on the Lunar Sabbath doctrine. This right here was just to stick my toe in the water and let you know what temperature it is. We thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully this class has been edifying. Hopefully brothers and sisters have learned a great deal of information. Okay? It's a great pleasure for us to impart these words of wisdom upon you. Matter of fact, give me 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Okay? We do this thing because we have to do this thing. Okay? It's out of necessity that we come out and we preach the truth of these scriptures and we preach the gospel. All right? Start at verse 16.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel.
The scriptures say, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. Come on.
For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me.
We willingly bring you the truth according to these scriptures. Out of necessity.